up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. I'm your host, theFellowKGB. You can follow me on Twitter at theFellowKGB. And it's Friday. It's August 21st. We got people drafting this weekend. We got training camps rolling, pads rolling, lots of news. I think in this video, I'm going to probably keep it about 20-25 minutes. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon. We're just going to be looking at the news wire and kind of talking about things and seeing what's sticking out after the first weeks of camp. But I did promise you, if you watch some of my other videos, I promise we're going to be uploading some cheat sheets and some new rankings to the Fellowship website. So if you go to thefantasyfellowship.com, you hover over 2020 content, you're going to see the redraft rankings tab here. And again, I updated all of these. I got the date stamp on here. So you got your quarterback, just standard there. If you click on RB, it'll show you PPR, and you can filter here by your tab that you need for your scoring system. But all my rankings are updated on the website, so go ahead and check those out. And if you needed a cheat sheet this weekend, you hover over the tab, 2020 cheat sheets. At the moment right now, I do have the PPR and the half PPR up there. After this video, I get it rendering. I'm going to start working on my standard rankings, and I'll have that cheat sheet up there as well. So go ahead and check out those links if you need to. But for now, we are just going to be looking at the Roto World News. Let me just refresh it here, see if anything else comes in. But again, you just go to Roto World, you hover over NFL, and you click on player news, and that's kind of where I like to just randomly check it maybe once or twice a day and see what I'm missing. But we'll start at the top here. We're just only going to focus on offensive fantasy minds here. So Dallas Goedert, Philadelphia Eagles, it looks like he suffered a hairline fracture in one of his thumbs. He's day-to-day with the injury. He's been shut down from practice, but could return next week. He remains on track for week 1. So I'm really not too concerned about this. I still love getting Dallas Goedert as my tight end too. Somewhere in the double-digit rounds. So nothing really crazy there for me. Sammy Watkins has returned to practice with his groin. He's been sidelined the last few days, but there's really not a concern here. I'm not really seeing anything too crazy here. So it looks like next week he'll hopefully ramp up his workload. So I like that. And then the other big news with the Chiefs receiving core was Tyreek Hill had a little bit of a hamstring concern. It was either Thursday or Wednesday where he pulled up a little bit, but it's not a big tear or anything like that, Andy Reid says. He left practice on Thursday, but reports have been positive. He had a hamstring injury last year, but he seemed to play through it. So it looks like they get Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins hopefully back soon. I'm still probably drafting Tyreek Hill as a top 5 fantasy receiver somewhere at the end of round 1, even round 2. This might hesitate me now and maybe push him back. Or if I have the 12th overall pick, I might think about 12, 13. But I love Tyreek Hill. And again, we still have 3 weeks of time for him to just kind of chill and take it easy. So I still think Tyreek Hill is going to be fine. There's the report on Dallas Goedert again. Jalen Guyton here, Los Angeles. I think this is a rookie receiver here, but he's got an increased amount of first-team reps because they need speed on the field. So he's a speedster. I don't really know too much about this Jalen Guyton guy, so this might be a dynasty guy to keep an eye on. Let's see here. Anything else? Mo Alley Cox. I think he was on the COVID list, but he's on the active pup list. So let's just kind of keep clicking through. Keyshawn Vaughn. I saw this earlier today on Twitter, and Bruce Arians was asked about Keyshawn Vaughn, how he's going to be able to contribute this year. And Bruce Arians says he's going to contribute as a kick returner in week 1. So that basically just takes him out of the conversation for running back snaps to compete with Ronald Jones, LaShawn McCoy, maybe even Darrell Ogunbowale. So this is a pretty strong beat here for Ronald Jones, who I'm probably going to talk up in a couple of other my videos this weekend. But I got a lot of stuff. I don't really have a lot going on this weekend. I'm probably hanging out at the pool if I'm not doing fantasy stuff. So we're just going to take it easy, kick back a bunch of fantasy videos, and try to get you guys prepped for your drafts coming up. But yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn probably doesn't need to be drafted in a redraft league. It's going to all be about Ronald Jones, who at the moment right now, Ronald Jones is probably my favorite guy to target in drafts. Round 5, I got him as a top 15, top 18 back, and it could be a really good sleeper pick. So I'm all in on Ronald Jones right now. It looks like Jared Stidham's got some discomfort in his leg. That's just better for Cam Newton. So we've been kind of high on Cam Newton as a QB2. So I like that. Kind of a concerning blurb here for Justin Jefferson. It looks like he's the clear number 3 receiver behind Adam Thielen and Olabisi Johnson. So I don't really feel comfortable. I mean, it's a low passing volume attack anyway. So I really wasn't targeting Justin Jefferson. It's going to be all about Adam Thielen. I think when I do, so I'm going to do another video maybe tonight yet. I kind of want to talk about this because one of the things that I look for when I'm drafting players, especially wide receivers, you're looking for target share. And if I filter my projections by target share, Adam Thielen's chilling up here at 25, almost 26% of the Vikings target share. So he's going to be targeted a ton this year, and he's probably got top 12 upside, and he's kind of hanging around round 3. So this report makes me feel even better about Adam Thielen and not so much Justin Jefferson this year. He's still fine for dynasty, but probably doesn't need to be a part of our redraft plans this year. I'm looking at Ryan Fitzpatrick right here. Head coach Brian Flores declined to comment on when Fitzpatrick would return. Looks like he got a personal reason, so we'll monitor that. Again, Tyreek Hill with the hamstring injury. Washington football team. There's the note on Ron Rivera having some kind of lymph node cancer here. Hope he can hang around and be okay there. It looks like, this is the Olabisi Johnson note. So it looks like he's locked in alongside Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. So if we look at my Vikings receivers real quick, I don't really have much. I actually had Olabisi Johnson down here, so I'm going to have to update these rankings. I had Justin Jefferson projected for 70 targets and Olabisi only 20. So I'm going to have to adjust these. I don't really know if I can advise drafting BC Johnson maybe as like your last pick in the draft. Who knows? Because maybe if Adam Thielen gets hurt, that's going to be the value. So I'm probably not drafting BC Johnson, but this is a really interesting note to keep an eye on here. Who's going to help kind of replace Stephon Diggs? So looking at the Jack Doyle blurb here, Jack Doyle believes the Colts system is great for tight ends. It's good to know. We like Jack Doyle. He's probably more of a PPR guy. You don't really want him, in a standard league. He's going to probably catch somewhere between 50, 60 passes. So we'll see if he can be, a high end tight end 2. Maybe most weeks he's a low tight end 1. So I still like Jack Doyle. Philip Rivers has always been really good with his tight end. So someone keep an eye on that. Cardinals defense. This is my favorite. If I have one take for you guys, if you've watched my videos, you guys know Michael Gallup's probably my favorite receiver in the NFL right now. I love him for fantasy. He's a hell of a value, but he's just one of my favorite receivers to watch. He's coming into his 3rd year. He's probably going to have a breakout season. But then you got Mike McCarthy, the head coach, talking that Michael Gallup is a number 1 receiver in my view. So they have CeeDee Lamb, they have Amari Cooper. That's great. Cooper and CeeDee Lamb are probably going to rotate outside slot a lot. But Michael Gallup's going to be chilling on the outside. I think he only played 14 games last year, but he was like 6th or 7th in wide receiver yards per game. So this guy, especially like in one of my other videos I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to pull up a graphic where I show what stat correlates to wide receiver success in fantasy the most. And it's going to be yards. The more yards a receiver has, the better that he's going to finish in fantasy. So Michael Gallup, again, last year I think he was like wide receiver 20-something, 21, 22. But last year, the man finished with a lot of yards. He had 1,107 yards, 6 touchdowns, basically on pace with targets for Amari Cooper. But again, he's more of the downplay guy or the downfield guy. Cooper's more of a PPR play. But still, Michael Gallup, I'm not drafting Amari Cooper round 3. Sorry, I'm going to get Michael Gallup in the 6th round every time. So go ahead and target Michael Gallup. Talking up some Devontae Parker here. It looks like he's now a self-motivator. So that's good. I still like my Devontae Parker, and I love Preston Williams. But Parker is going to be he's going to be a fine wide receiver too. I think you can get him at wide receiver 3 prices. It looks like none of the quarterbacks have flash. So the quarterbacks in New England are kind of disappointing right now. So that's something interesting to note. I really don't know if I can advise drafting into the Patriots offense this year. If I do get it, it's going to be Cam Newton as a QB2. It looks like DJ Moore, outside of Michael Gallup, DJ Moore is probably my other favorite wide receiver. You can get him in the 3rd round. I'd rather have DJ Moore than Amari Cooper all day. And then you got the Panthers head coach here saying he wants DJ Moore to be that physical, dominant go-to receiver. He had 87 catches, almost 1,200 yards, and 4 touchdowns last year. I think that's his floor this year. And he's only scored 6 touchdowns in 2 years. He's going to probably get more than 6 touchdowns in just this year alone. So I think DJ Moore is a top 10 lock. I would take him as early as, the 25th, 26th overall pick, the first few picks in the 3rd round. So I love that. And then you got another interesting 3rd or 4th round pick receiver here in Calvin Ridley, saying he's been doing more leg workouts, more squats, just trying to get that conditioning in for his legs to be, his first 1,000-yard season. So I like that. We've already kind of talked about Jarrett Stidham, but he's been charted to have 6 interceptions in the team's first 4 practice. So, they say yikes here. So Cam Newton's a starter, guys. Ian Thomas, truthers. I love Ian Thomas. He's a dynasty stash, but he's not really flashing in camp yet. So that's a little concerning. That just makes me like DJ Moore even more. It looks like John Hightower here. He could be a starter. Looks like he's been impressing in camp. Um, I mean, he's going to be available day one. Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson are always kind of injured, but there's still Greg Ward there. John Howard, I think he was a sixth-round pick as a rookie. So he's an interesting name to keep an eye on. He's kind of a vertical blazer, so we'll see what he can do. Arizona Cardinals. It looks like the seventh-round pick, Benjamin's going to make the roster as the third team, the third back. So I like Benjamin in dynasty drafts because he's pretty cheap. No one's really looking at him. We really don't know the future of Kenyon Drake with the Cardinals. I still like Chase Edmonds a lot. We'll probably get to. I think I got to talk about Chase Edmonds at some point if I don't get to a blurb. But Cardinals backfield is going to be productive. It looks like the tight ends Jordan Akins has made one big play after another in camp. So the Texans tight ends is really interesting because they got three dudes that can all make time or make some plays here. So I have Jordan Akins, Darren Fells, and Jordan Thomas all getting targets, but I do have Jordan Akins as the leading tight end. I gave him about 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. You look at what he did last year. He actually had more. He had 418 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I might have to increase that. I mean, the man had 55 targets last year, and I got him down here at 43. So I might have to make some adjustments and boost up Jordan Akins. He could be a tight end 2 target for us this year. Again, DeAndre Hopkins is not around. Targets are going to be being thrown around. So I like Jordan Akins here, especially in a dynasty league. Kevin White working out with the Jets. We'll see if he can make the team. But I think I got to spend a little bit of time with this one. If you look at the number one trending player the last 24 hours here, it's Zach Moss. There are some really, really good camp news and notes about Zach Moss coming out yesterday. The Athletic Joe Buscaglia, I don't know, but he believes that perhaps the impact Zach Moss can have this season has been undersold. I'll just read the blurb word for word here. Moss has been the hype all-star throughout the opening days of Bills camp open to the media, drawing praise for both his receiving work and power running. He is apparently excelling Thursday before Devin Singletary lost the fumble, and then really put on a show after Singletary was mothballed. I think that just means, like put to the sideline. The Bills never quite trusted Singletary as an every down back this season, though he was drawing commanding workloads by the end of the season. The Bills have made it clear that their ideal backfield setup is a committee, and Moss is so far holding his end of the bargain. If you've been watching my videos, I've been kind of pumping this in since day one. I think Zach Moss is a better running back than Devin Singletary. I am not touching. I just put out my avoid video. I'm not touching Devin Singletary in the 4th or 5th round. I think that's a waste of a pick. You can get Zach Moss. I've seen Zach Moss go in the 8th, 9th, 10th round now. So he's creeping up. If you're drafting in your home leagues, ADP is a little bit more rewarding for you. And Zach Moss, he's definitely a part of my plan. He's going to get the Frank Gore role. He's going to be the banger inside the 10-yard line. I know Josh Allen's probably going to steal some carries in there, but the other note here too is Zach Moss has shown ability in the pass-catching game here. So Moss reached 28 receptions 2 of his final 3 years at Utah. He has now drawn camp rapes for both his hands and power running. The Bills will have a dangerous 1-2 punch at running back if Moss's summer play carries over the regular season. So his current ADP is RB45. I think I got Zach Moss up in my 30s. I have Zach Moss as a flex RB this year. And he's easily my favorite stash for dynasty leagues. I think he's been really underlooked. I was getting him round 2 all summer. But I got him at RB32. I have Singletary at 36. So I'm not touching Singletary with a 10-foot pole. Give me Zach Moss in the 9th, 10th round all day. I think maybe during the beginning of the year, Singletary gets like a 55, 60%, split. But Zach Moss, as soon as we start to see Zach Moss make more plays, he's going to be taking over the backfield. So again, I don't want to tell you not to draft Singletary, but I love Zach Moss's game. Very good running back. Buffalo's going to love him. Melvin Gordon. It's going to be almost like a 50-50 split here with Phillip Lindsay. I think Melvin Gordon's the better back, but Lindsay does have a lot of nice burst, and Lindsay doesn't need a lot of touches to get a lot of yards. So I think both guys have value. I'm no longer drafting Melvin Gordon in the 3rd or 4th round. He's kind of off my board. Give me Lindsay in the 8th or 9th round if you want to get a piece of the Broncos backfield. But I do think Melvin's going to be the leading pass catcher of the two. I think he's going to be in line for some goal line carries. But again, in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round, I'm hanging out on receivers and Ronald Jones. Kerryon Johnson, the Lions beat writer Tim Twentyman says it's expected that rookie DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson will share the backfield in a running back committee approach. Again, that's not really a surprise to me. I kind of viewed it as a 50-50 split to begin with. So I'm really not targeting either of these two guys in redraft leagues. I think DeAndre Swift's hit their 6th-round pick now. Again, I like the receivers. Give me DK Metcalf in the 5th. Give me Michael Gallup in the 6th instead. I'm just kind of looking around here. I'm looking for that news blurb on my boy Chase Edmonds. Looks like the Broncos report here that the defense has yet to find an answer for Cortland Sutton in camp. So he's looks like he's had a quiet off season, and I kind of have his ADP is wide receiver 19. I haven't really been getting too many shares of Cortland Sutton. I don't really know if I trust the volume there, and now he's got added competition with Judy, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant, and then they got 2 running backs that are going to catch the ball. So I have Cortland Sutton around wide receiver 24. Let's see here. He's let me filter by PPR. I got him as wide receiver 24, so I like him, but he's going to cost, a 5th to 6th round pick, and I have guys like Michael Gallup, DK Metcalf, DJ Chark. I have these guys a little bit higher, so where Cortland Sutton's being drafted, I'm taking these guys instead, but I would probably slam the draft button on Cortland Sutton in the 6th round. Kendrick Bourne, he's been the most consistent receiver. He's the oldest receiver on the team. Kendrick Bourne's been a really good best ball target for me in the 17th, 18th rounds. So don't sleep on Kendrick Bourne. Deebo Samuel's going to be on the sidelines probably for the first few games. So this is going to be their number 1 receiver outside of George Kittle. More positive news for Brandon Ayuk. Their starting lineup is going to be Brandon Ayuk and Kendrick Bourne at receiver with George Kittle, maybe another tight end and a running back. So both these guys are really good picks. Brandon Ayuk in a dynasty for sure, but I think Kendrick Bourne's got more value in redraft to start the season. I'm looking out here. Signing for Dez Bryant is not imminent. Philip Dorsett. Pete Carroll said he's the fastest guy we've ever had in here. I read some news about Philip Dorsett making some nice catches with Russell Wilson. He's going to be the starting, the 3rd receiver. In Seattle runs a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. So Philip Dorsett's going to be on the field maybe for 50, 60% of the snaps. He's a best ball target for me for sure. So just keep an eye on that news drip, I guess. Deebo Samuel, hopefully ready for week 1. I really don't think he's going to be 100% for week 1. So I'm interested in Deebo Samuel if he gets to a certain point of the draft where the value's there. But again, Kendrick Bourne, Brandon Ayuk probably running with the 1s. I'm just looking around here. KJ Hamler, I talked about him a second ago, but he's out a couple of weeks with a hamstring injury. He was going to be the starting slot receiver for Denver. Nick Chubb is concussion update here. He's in meetings and he's not complaining of headaches. So that sounds really, really promising that it doesn't look like it's going to be a lingering thing here very long. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's a fast learner with great vision. Yeah, we all knew all that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a 1st-round pick. I'm looking for the Chase Edmonds blurb, though. Bucks tight end Rob Gronkowski says Tom Brady's arm might be stronger than it was when Gronk entered the league. I love Tom Brady. If you had to ask me, Kyle, give me 1 quarterback to lead my draft with, I would say Tom Brady right now because he's being drafted, as like maybe the 10th quarterback off the board, but I think he's got legit top 5 upside. This might be the best group of weapons Tom Brady's ever had in his career, and he's had some weapons. He's got Evans and Godwin. He's got Gronk and O.J. Howard. He's got a handful of running backs to throw the ball to. And then it sounds like the backup receiver, Scotty Miller, the 3rd receiver, who he's basically like the white John Brown. He's a deep vertical guy, but he's also making plays in the middle of the field. So he's got like 6 or 7 guys that I feel really, really good about. So I'm all in on Tom Brady this year. I think he's my quarterback 6 in my rankings right now. So if you use my rankings, you're probably going to end up with Tom Brady. I'm just kind of looking around here. I really wanted to read this Chase Edmonds blurb here. So let's just search for Chase Edmonds. There was some really good comments from Cliff Kingsbury the other day here. So we'll just click on him. He's the backup for Kenyon Drake. But it looks like Cliff Kingsbury feels that Chase Edmonds is a starting running back in this league. And I don't disagree with him. If you look at what Chase Edmonds' game logs were last year, he was very productive before they acquired Kenyon Drake. And the only reason that they had to go get Kenyon Drake was because David Johnson was out, and it looks like here. So basically this was the game that Chase Edmonds blew up. David Johnson was active. He was a no-go right away, but he ran all over the Giants, 27 carries, 126 yards, and 3 touchdowns. and he adds a couple catches per game. But the 2 weeks before that, this is what Chase Edmonds did on just a limited touches. So he had 8 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown, added 3 catches for 18 yards. Then the following week against Atlanta, 34 rushing yards, 33 receiving, and a touchdown. So he scores 5 touchdowns in 3 weeks. He's basically set to be the bell cow back, and then he ends up, I think he hurt his hamstring in the first quarter against the Saints, and then they basically have to call Miami to get Kenyon Drake over here. So this could be a stat line that I see often. These 2 weeks here, this is what I'm kind of expecting from Chase Edmonds, where he's going to get maybe 8 and 3 is 11 touches, and then 5 and 7. He's probably going to be a 7 to 10 touch guy most weeks if Kenyon Drake is healthy, and then he's got big play upside where he can score a touchdown at any given moment. They like him in the red zone. And I don't know. I'm kind of not so interested in Kenyon Drake in the second round. Give me Jacobs, give me Chubb, give me Aaron Jones, give me Eckler. I kind of have Kenyon Drake at the end of that tier. But Chase Edmonds is a good player, guys. Don't sleep on Chase Edmonds. You can get him probably in the 8th, 9th, 10th round. But yeah, so we started this video. We're probably going on about 20 minutes right now. I think that's going to do it just for this video. I just kind of wanted to get some news and some notes out there. But again, I'm constantly, every hour or two, I'm opening up my projection document and I'm tweaking things. Like I said, I kind of have to go back and tweak. What was the one I have to tweak? Who's the receiver we were talking about where I have to kind of go back? But yeah, the Minnesota Vikings. Olabisi Johnson's probably the number 2 receiver this year. So I'm probably going to snag I'm going to move some of these numbers around. But again, we're not really drafting the Vikings number 2 receiver. But yeah, with that, I want to thank you for your time. If you watched on YouTube, don't forget to leave me a comment. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're drafting this weekend, I can talk, but we can exchange some comments and some thoughts. Follow me on Twitter. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you in another video. Peace.